Now, we've been talking leadership contests non-stop for the past couple of weeks, but there's another one going on which you might not be so aware of. The Lib Dems, they need to choose a new leader too, because the leader at the moment, Sir Vince Cable, is on his way out. He's retiring. He's going to give up the role, and he is now in talks, he says, with a number of rival MPs about joining his party. They're on a bit of a resurgence. The outgoing leader says other MPs, including some Conservatives, could follow.
Well, we are talking to people, not just to them actually, but there are a lot of Tory MPs, some Labour, who were going to make the jump and didn't, but are now realising that their position is becoming impossible and who might well come to us.
Really interesting times for the Lib Dems at the moment, particularly as they look to appoint their new leader. Now, fewer candidates are standing. It's a much simpler process within the Lib Dem party of choosing someone to lead them. So our political reporter Tim Parker has been asking Lib Dem members around Bosworth who they're supporting and why.
In the yellow corner, Jo Swanson.
MP for East Dunbartonshire, currently deputy leader of the party.
And in the other yellow corner, Ed Davey.
MP for Kingston and Surbiton in southwest London, former business minister and Secretary of State for Energy and Climate Change. For most, it's hardly fight night, unless, of course, you're a member of the Liberal Democrats. And there are plenty in our area because they control 2 boroughs in Leicestershire, remember?
Pete Stead-Davis.
Michael Mullaney.
Mathew Hulbert.
Joyce Crooks.
Right, I'm supporting Jo. I like what she did when she's in office, and I like her thoughts on the planet and the environment generally.
I'm supporting Ed Davey. I think he's had a very strong commitment to climate change and to social justice. He's a very experienced leader. He's somebody who can take us forward at this moment. We've seen the party's fortunes transform recently, and we're now challenging really almost for first place in the polls. And we got more votes than the Conservatives and Labour in the European elections. So really, this is no longer just, a fringe party leadership. This is somebody who could play a very big part in the future of the country after the next election.
I'm very happy to be supporting Ed Davey. I feel that he's the strongest of 2 very strong candidates. I also like his record on climate change and his plans to tackle that in the future. And also, as a member of the LGBT plus communities, I pay tribute to his record on equality issues.
I am leaning towards Ed Davey, but I do like Jo, and I like the fact that she champions women's rights as well as ecology. I'm just not quite sure, but I am leaning towards Ed Davey.
You're going to have to make a decision sooner or later.
I know.
Perhaps this conversation will help you.
Absolutely.
So what are the big issues here, do you think? And is it simply the environment? Is there more to this, do you think?
I think the major thing is the environment. Okay, there's no point in putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. It needs dealing with now. I mean, public transport's being crucified, bus services being lost. We should have more public transport. That's one of the major things that has to happen now.
Deeply unpopular decisions are going to have to be taken about the environment, though. Things that are not going to make politicians popular.
But these things have to be done. They can't keep kicking it into the long grass. Somebody's got to have the gumption to actually stand up and say, this needs doing. The Lib Dems are prepared to do it. Put the environment first.
And we're Greens that can actually get into power and can actually affect change. And I think Ed has experience at the very highest level. Ed sat around that cabinet table. He's been very close to 2 prime ministers, albeit very much not agreeing with their particular politics. And I think he has the qualities and the vision to take the Lib Dems back into government.
I'm thinking about the future for my grandchildren and their children. I certainly will look to either of them to see what they're looking in the long-term future for our children and their futures, because it's in the balance at the moment, especially with the climate change.
Public service is an important issue as well, because obviously the East Midlands, Leicestershire in particular, often loses out in terms of very low funding for the county council, one of the lowest in the country. Health service, education has some of the lowest funding. So really we need somebody who's committed towards the regions, and Ed's got an action plan for dealing with regions that are underrepresented. And he also originally comes from the East Midlands, and it's very rare that a party leader is ever from the East Midlands. It's a rarity, so that's a bonus as well.
So those candidates, Michael Mullaney along with Joyce Crooks, Mathew Hulbert and Pete Stead-Davis. You heard they're talking about the leadership race, so we should know who that next leader will be in about a month's time.